When you love someone, you go all out to fight for their love, until they realize how much they do too. This story is about a group of 7 college friends who called themselves the Romantics. They reunite after 6 years when 2 of them, Leela and Tom, are planning to marry. But the problem is that Laura, the maid of honor, has also dated the groom. In the opening scene of The Romantics, we see the bride-to-be Leela, her sister Minnow, and her mother Augusta waiting anxiously for a delivery. We also see a lady named Laura on her way to her friend's place for the wedding, but she does not seem to be happy. Back to Leela, immediately the doorbell rings and she leaves to get the door, and her wedding dress is delivered to her. She quickly receives it and rushes to her room to try it on. Her sister wants to follow her, but she declines. She likes doing her things secretly. Laura has a stop on her way, and their other friends Tripler and Pete bump into her, as they are also driving to the same place. They are heading to Maine, at the seaside estate of Leela's wealthy parents for her wedding ceremony with Tom, one of their friends. The friends are 7 in number, and they fondly call themselves the Romantics, because they share an interest in the romantic era. Tripler climbs over to join Laura in her car, and hopes she's fine because she does not look happy. She even suggests they go for a drink to cheer her up. Tripler seems to understand how she feels about the wedding. In the next scene we see Jake and Weesey, who are in a serious relationship, and they are also on their way to their friend's wedding. They are very in love and reminisce on how they met, since traveling back brings back old memories. However, Jake seems to be confused about the facts of the day they met. The cabman sees how in love they are, and can't help but conclude that they are perfectly made for each other. He wonders when they will get married, but their simultaneous different response shows that they are yet to conclude choosing a wedding date. They all get to the bride-to-be's home, and she gladly welcomes them. As they all settle in, Laura struggles to be happy for her best friend as much as possible. She sees her through the window with Tripler, and several thoughts run through her mind, seeing how happy she is. She decides to get her maid of honor speech together for dinner later in the evening. She talks about her being more than a friend to her, how they have shared several things, including clothes, study, notes, and even boyfriends. This statement makes it clear. Leela is her former college roommate and best friend. Laura had been in a relationship with Tom, whom Leela is getting married to. And to make matters worse, she is the maid of honor for the wedding. She pauses and sighs heavily at the mention of boyfriends. She believes Leela is the luckiest girl in the world, who has beauty and intelligence and is perfect, and she's not fit to compete with her. She wants to mention that they dated the same guy, but decides against including it in the speech because that would not look good. After much deliberation and thought, she is unable to conclude. The 3 bridesmaids, Tripler, Laura, and Weesey, get dressed for the welcome party, and they wonder how she coped when she heard about the wedding. She reveals they met before his proposal to Leela, but he did not let her know about it. The girls are shocked that he didn't inform her of such a great step that he planned on taking, despite their history together. Laura heard about it from Leela when she asked her to be her maid of honor. She assures them that she will be fine, and wants them to be happy because they're all friends. This looks like she's trying to be strong, but deep down she's hurting. In the next scene, we see Tom, the groom, trying to look perfect to welcome their guests, but getting cold feet. He tries practicing how he would welcome his guests in front of a mirror, but nervousness is written all over him. He is unable to get his speech ready for the dinner, and on seeing Laura, they both become speechless. The awkwardness in the air is too glaring. Could it be that they still have emotions for each other? They all leave for the rehearsal, and a nervous Tom goes with his bride-to-be, Leela. His countenance is not exactly one that is expected of a man about to be married to the woman of his dreams. Laura is also extremely nervous, and wants to change her mind about the rehearsal when her dress gets bad, but her friends get it fixed, so she has no choice but to attend. Augusta welcomes all of them and explains their plans for the procession. Chip, who's the bride's brother, joins Laura and teases her that she will fall in love with him soon enough. He likes her, but she's not into him. However, she is his partner till the wedding is over. Each person leaves with their partner, and they begin to practice the processional. But how long will Tom and Laura keep avoiding one another? Later, Augusta joins her daughter, complimenting how beautiful she looks. She wonders where the groom is, and feels that they need to be all over each other instead of being apart. They see him alone at the beach, looking nervous and bothered. Seeing how he looks, her mother's instinct sense that something is off. She wants her daughter to reconsider her decision, because the groom she is seeing doesn't seem like one who is in love with her, as much as she's in love with him. Leela won't hear of it. She loves him and believes it's normal to get cold feet. She ignores her mom's advice and leaves to join him. On getting to Tom, she kisses him to make it look like everything is perfect. At the dinner, Tom keeps staring at Laura from afar as all their friends and loved ones give a speech about the couple. One of the guests sings the praises of Tom being quite a catch. He is a summer graduate, championship swimmer, PhD in English, and quite handsome. He seems to have it all. As the couple share some loving moments, Laura looks quite sad, seeing all she lost to her friend. A drunk Chip also sings the praises of his sister, and talks about how girls are jealous of her, and how guys always have to fight the urge to sleep with her. He even tells Jake to admit that he has a crush on her, making everything awkward, especially for Weesey. They talk about the fond memories they shared with them. their past, their strength, and how they have encouraged them in one way or the other. Chip encourages his mom to get used to being with their new in-laws, because she has to endure spending Christmas and Thanksgiving with them for the rest of their lives. Not the speech one expects on such an occasion. Laura tries to be happy as much as possible. She reveals why they called themselves the Romantics, but in between the speech she replaces the bride's name with hers, and this makes the guests confused. Her speech is so awkward that some of the guests have a hard time understanding the message she is trying to pass across. Only their friends understand, and try to encourage her after her speech. Leela gets angry and decides to leave the dinner. Tripler tries stopping her, but she insists she needs to be alone, and promises to meet with all the ladies later. However, Tom makes no effort to stop her from leaving. All her friends get more drinks and continue to have fun after dinner. Leela sees them from afar, but chooses not to reconsider her decision, even though she is tempted. Laura and Tom are not able to ignore one another for long. He compliments her speech earlier and apologizes for breaking her heart. She tries to act all mature and reveals she has moved on. He is surprised and finds her response hard to believe. Back to Leela, who is in her room. Her sister joins her and reveals she's nervous because she will be next in line after the wedding. So she has come to ask for some advice from her more experienced sister, but unfortunately, Leela reveals that she is not even sure she is doing the right thing at the moment. But she refuses to admit that Tom is not in love with her. Meanwhile, her friends and the groom all continue to talk and have fun. They wonder why he did not give a speech and suggest he do it for them. Since they are close to the beach, they all decide to swim. After swimming, they discover the groom is nowhere to be found. However, Leela, who is still in her room, keeps enjoying being alone as she smokes. All of them decide to search for Tom, believing that he has run away from the wedding because he's getting cold feet. They decide to make it more fun, so they switch partners. Tripler with Jake, Laura with Chip, and Weesey with Pete. They all plan to meet at the same place after they see Tom. At this point, the groom missing a few hours from the wedding is a bad omen. Tripler and Jake bond over drinks while they're in search of Tom. Pete, who does not trust his wife, wonders if Weesey is bothered about pairing them together. She assures him that they will be great together and wants them to focus on the task at hand. Jake and Tripler even discuss Tom, Laura, and Leela. Tripler believes Tom is not in love with the bride, but he is only after her fortune. Jake does not believe that is entirely true, but they keep drinking. Pete and Weesey search from their end but cannot find the groom, so they decide to take a break and get a drink. Laura and Chip search too, and he wonders how she's coping with her breakup. She tries to deny the whole situation, as usual. Chip is not making it particularly easy for her, as he continues to get on her nerves by insisting she forgets about him and moves on. She sees that he's drunk and leaves him to continue with the task of searching for the groom all alone. Pete and Weesey discuss their strengths and weaknesses. He even asks when they plan to get married, and she reveals they are yet to decide. She suggests they inform Leela about the whole situation, but he believes it's not necessary. It will only make her more worried. Jake and Tripler continue to drink and dance. They even discover they have much in common. Eventually, Laura bumps into Tom, and she's glad he's fine. She decides to let everyone know that she has found the groom, but he reveals he did it on purpose so they can have time to hang out. She's surprised and wonders why he did that. Meanwhile, Leela gets herself busy with her manicure and pedicure. She sees some of her old pictures in her drawer and remembers memories she had with both Tom and Laura. Tom and Laura get to be alone. She wants to know if he's fully prepared for the next day. He reveals he's still having a hard time learning how to dance. She decides to teach him. As they dance, they get closer, and she avoids staring into his face. They both avoid that for some moments, but she decides to let him know how she feels about the wedding. She expresses her disappointment that despite the years they spent together, he did not give her the courtesy of informing her that he intended to propose to Leela, even after they slept together a night before he proposed to her. They have an intense conversation, and also argue about their vows to love each other no matter what. He reveals that their romance was emotionally exhausting for him, with too many highs and lows. But he admits he's not in love with Leela, and he will regret getting married to her. She thinks he's betraying his ideals, but it's not clear he ever had any. So she decides to let them know he's not missing, and she leaves. However, she has a change of heart on her way, unknown to him. Leela's sister believes she will be in bed, so she sneaks in to check on her wedding dress. She even tries it on, to get a feeling of what it feels like to be a bride. Pete and Weesey continue to talk, even as they continue with their task. The switching of partners causes them to discover interesting things that they would naturally have not known about each other. Tripler and Jake keep searching, and they approach the room where the wedding dress is. Minnow hears them approaching and hides away from them. When they get there, Tripler and Jake decide to get some rest, and they also talk about the whole wedding situation. In the next scene, Tom decides to talk with Leela. She tries to decline, because it is not a good sign for the bride and groom to see each other on the day of the wedding. But when he insists, she invites him to her room. He confesses that he is confused, and not sure if he loves her. She is shocked, but does not think this is the ideal time for him to change his mind. She tries to encourage him, and reveal how much she loves him. but he cannot explain why he loves her. She insists they go on with the wedding, regardless of what he just confessed, and wants him to control his emotions. It's surprising that, even as Tom has confessed his feelings to her, Leela still insists on going ahead with the wedding. She even advises him to have a man-to-man discussion with his friends, which will make him feel better. Since she is not changing her mind, he decides to give up and go ahead with it. Meanwhile, the bride's mother Augusta is bothered by the weather and cannot sleep peacefully. She wakes her husband to mention that she believes it will rain the next day, but her husband is fast asleep. Laura goes back to her room and breaks down in tears, as she can no longer hide her feelings. However, Pete and Weesey decide to challenge each other to go and run onto the beach to swim. They seem to be a great match too, but what will their partners have to say if they find out about their little challenge? Tripler and Jake, who are drunk, kiss and try to make out on the couch, while Minnow spies on them. Leela believes she has everything under control, and Tom believes she will never let him go so easily. Tripler and Jake continue to kiss and smooch. Pete and Weesey also strip themselves and run onto the beach, shouting. Jake hears their voices and remembers he has a girlfriend, so he runs away, leaving Tripler in the middle of their romance. However, she is disappointed they did not get to do anything. But then she sees Minnow, who had been hiding. When Minnow stands up, she realizes that she has torn the dress at the side. She begins to regret her decision, and is about to break down when Tripler assures her that everything will be fine. She promises to help her get it fixed before the wedding the next day. Tripler decides to distract Leela, to assist her returning the wedding dress without getting caught. She gets to Leela's room, and she wonders why she's there, when she promised to be back by midnight. She has to lie and say that they all got wasted, and she does not think the others are still awake. Meanwhile, Weesey quickly runs on and hides to get dressed without being noticed. After getting dressed, she joins them in Leela's room, and wonders why Laura is not with them. The girls decide to lie and not reveal Tom had been missing. Back to Laura, she is checking her phone to search for the novel that describes the love she shared with Tom. On seeing it, she decides to look for Tom. Minnow, on the other hand, can successfully return the dress without being caught. Pete, Jake, Tripler, and Weesey rest after a long night. Weesey suggests they let the bride know about the whole situation. Unknown to them, Tom met with Leela earlier, but they all decide to wait till later. They continue to act as if nothing happened between them. It is their tiny little secret. Tom, in his room, also reads the novel and thinks of Laura, and surprisingly he sees her anxiously in search of him. He runs towards her, and they cannot hide their feelings anymore. They kiss passionately, and he whispers how much their love means to him. They cannot get enough of each other, and end up spending their night together. The next day, Laura wakes up and discovers that Tom is nowhere to be found. She's disappointed, because it's a sign he is not willing to get serious with her. But he is nearby. She decides to get back to her room before anyone else sees her. On her way, she runs into the others, and they ask if she saw him, or if they should go and tell Leela that her groom is missing. She tries to deny seeing him, but the look on her face gives her away. Trip knows beyond a doubt that she spent the night with him. Leela gets up early to check on her beautiful wedding dress, and discovers someone has worn it and it is damaged. She screams her sister's name, but her mother joins in to calm her down. She believes they still have enough time to fix it. She is furious, and she chases her sister around the house. As she chases her sister, she bumps into her friends, which makes her stop. They decide to reveal that Tom is missing. Surprisingly, when they do, she lets them know she was with him the previous night. Tom joins them, and Leela rushes to hug him, and they kiss passionately. Laura is heartbroken again, and quickly leaves to avoid crying. They all leave to get ready for the wedding. Augusta gets some sewing kits to fix the wedding dress, and she successfully fixes it perfectly. The bridesmaids also get ready for the event, while the groom's men do the same. Tom, who's still getting cold feet, tries his best to look perfect, while his friends help him get prepared. Augusta checks the decorations of the event, and she's relieved that all is set for the outdoor service. All the bridesmaids join Leela to help her get her ready too. Minnow, who has been forgiven, also joins them. Everything seems to be perfect, and the wedding is going as she has planned. Laura leaves to get their flowers. When she gets to where the flowers are, she believes if she does not confront Leela, she will regret it for the rest of her life. She does not want to lose her best friend, and also the man she loves dearly, so she finally makes her choice. Laura gets them the flowers, and the bride wonders why she delayed in bringing them. She decides to reveal she was with Tom the previous night. Meanwhile, all the guests with the groom are already waiting for the arrival of the bride. Her mother leaves to inform them that the guests are expecting them. She gets there and notices both friends are discussing Tom. She leaves them, and so does everyone else. Laura tells Leela what happened, claiming that she wants to save her friend from a bad marriage. Leela does not see reason with her. Instead, she insists Laura did what she did out of jealousy, and is simply trying to break her and Tom up. Laura accuses her that she always wanted everything that belonged to her, and she does not seem to understand why. Leela doesn't care. She still has every intention of going through with the wedding, despite her doubts. Laura eventually joins the bridesmaids and the groom's men as they are about to start the outdoor ceremony. Chip apologizes to her for talking down about Tom and his sister as they await the bride. Leela finally joins them as her father walks her down the aisle. During the exchange of vows, Tom enters into a rambling improvised monologue about how he has nothing to say about their love. This shocks all the guests. Leela tries to assist him so they can proceed with the ceremony. Then the thunderstorm that Augusta had suspected hits, and it starts raining heavily. Right before Tom can put his vows into words, the whole event is ruined. All of the guests run back to the house laughing, including the bride. The only people remaining out in the field and under the rain are Tom and Laura. They look at each other and break into a smile over the funny situation that just disrupted the wedding. Could it be that the universe is not in support of this union as well? Who knows? But we do not know if, after the rain, the wedding continued or not.